back, folks, here at the booth for Lightfair series, Light Efficient Design, Lightfair 2019. Greg, what do we want to talk about today?
First of all, Light Efficient Design, the name itself, LED, I think that's cool. You guys are
Makes it easier.
You made that happen. I've had personal history of my company buying from them. They're one of the first to have come out with a lot of the LED innovative retrofit products you see in the market, and they're continuing to do that. One thing that I really like about a few of their products is they have what they call Flex Watt, Flex Color, and Flex Control. And what that gives you is 4 different wattages to choose from in the same unit, 3 different colors, and then it gives you the option to either control it through a Zigbee type control, or it has a built-in occupancy sensor that's hidden behind the lens.
I think we should do a podcast with these guys.
We're here. Let's do it.
And that's one, but I also want to talk about solar, and that's the purpose of this one.
Yeah.
They actually have solar products.
Super exciting stuff, man.
That looks legit, and I don't see legit solar yet. Yeah. So that's what he's going to talk to us about tonight.
So these solar lights, you're expanding your line on that a lot. We're about to start the show here. You're jumping in here, Dave. I know you want to get after. This show is also sponsored by the National Association of Innovative Lighting Distributors. That's NAILD.org. And Dave, why don't you give the listeners quickly the Light Efficient Design website?
The website is led-llc.com.
led-llc.com, folks. Welcome to the Get a Grip on Lighting podcast.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
No, thank you for having us here at your booth. Exciting. Look at all the people in here. It's a good time. So, you guys put your toe in the water with solar last year, and you put out that product over there, I remember.
Yep.
And you had a lot of success with it. You're starting to expand this line. How is that going? Where, are you guys moving a lot of these products? Are there a lot of installs? Where are we at with solar, and why are you guys a leader with it?
Sure. So first, I'd like to step back a couple of years and kind of give you a little history as to why we got into solar at all to begin with. So about 6 years ago, we have a partner over in Africa, in Tanzania. And Africa, rural Africa especially, they don't have a lot of existing infrastructure in the roadways for street lighting, right? So we started getting involved in roadway lighting, street lighting with solar lighting. We've done miles and miles and miles and miles of off-grid solar street lighting in rural Africa. All of those systems used a relatively complex and large system where you had a separate solar panel, a separate battery, and a separate light fixture. In Africa, where labor costs aren't that expensive, that's okay to have multiple pieces. But my vision was to be able to offer that here in North America. We wanted solar lighting systems that were all-in-one, easy to install, plug and play, not these complicated separate component systems. The reason why it took a few years longer than we would have liked to bring it stateside was that the battery technology really wasn't there yet. So if you can picture, we're using in these African street lighting projects, we're using these large car batteries, lead acid batteries, big and heavy. A lot of times they have to be buried underground because the boxes are so large. So we were waiting for a battery technology that would be small enough and reliable enough to be able to offer long warranties and low cost points and high reliability. So it's actually the electric car industry that's really progressed battery technology, as you can imagine. Today we're using really high-tech lithium batteries in these products that are the same batteries that would be used in a Tesla, for example. The temperature ranges have gotten a lot better. Reliability has gotten a lot better. So the batteries that we use in these products now allow for up to a 2,000 charge or discharge cycles, which basically allows us to put a 5-year warranty on the battery, which is really amazing because in the past you've only been able to put a 1-year or maybe a 3-year warranty on batteries. So the battery technology has come a long way. And last year, as you mentioned, we were finally able to take all that battery technology that's progressed so much and build it into our first product, which was an area light, parking light type fixture. We offer 2 units. We offer one that replaces up to a 70-watt traditional lamp and one that replaces up to a 250. And these are all-in-one units. So instead of the units we were doing in Africa that were separate components, we have in one compact unit. We call that our LED SAL. We have a solar panel on the back. We have a battery built in. We have a light engine built in. That's that unit up there. And that's been unbelievably successful for us. The reason why it's been so successful is that before we introduced this product, I'd say there are two different and still today, there are two different categories of solar lighting. On one hand, there's a lot of really kind of low cost, cheap quality stuff, probably designed more for residential, buying it on Amazon. It's low cost point, probably not going to last very long, not putting out a lot of light, using really cheap batteries. On the other hand, there's what I'd call engineered solar solutions. So that means, and sometimes you'll see these systems where, again, it's kind of what we did in Africa. It's a separate set of panels, batteries, light engine. Systems cost thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars. It's a lot of engineering work for them to come out and make sure that the system is properly designed for that location. We didn't want to require all that engineering work. We wanted solar systems that were easy to use, plug and play, distributor friendly, contractor friendly. So that was what we did with our first product, the LED SAL, LED solar area light is what it stands for, is have a system that you just set it and forget it. You put it on the pole, turn it on, it's good to go.
How many have you installed, Greg?
I've sold 0. So a couple of questions with that is, do you need direct sunlight on the fixture?
Good question. So all of the off-grid solar lighting that we have, and the reason why I specifically say off-grid is that we're about to come out with some really cool stuff. We actually are we're showing for the first time on the floor over there one of our hybrid solar solutions.
Yep.
Our new hybrid solar solution can pull either from the sun or from the grid. But the off-grid solar stuff that we have here today requires 7 hours of sunlight to charge and can last up to 3 nights on 1 day's charge. And that's important because that means that if you have 1 day's charge and then 3 more cloudy days, it's going to be on every night.
Does the light output go down with the charger's battery?
It has a smart, intelligent controller that if you're on, for example, there's a photo, I know that the cameras can't see, but there's a photo of a parking lot at a high school in California where that's a great example of an installation for off-grid solar. That's a project where the high school, the parking lot's been there for many years. They were having issues with vandalism and kids causing problems. They had 2 poles of lighting in that parking lot existing. They looked at the cost of trenching and adding a bunch more poles.
Yeah, I mean,
unbelievably expensive.
And also non-trenching, like boring under with the
expensive. There's no cheap way to do it. So that's a great example of they needed more lighting. They looked at the cost of adding regular poles and LED light and line voltage LED lights. It was just going to be crazy expensive. So that's a great place to use solar lighting. Places where you want extra lighting for safety, parking lots. Maybe we've seen customers using it in pathways, universities. Right? They're always interested in more safety in their paths between buildings. Unbelievably expensive to run new wires. But back to your question about you were asking about the
needing to have direct sunlight.
Direct sunlight. So obviously solar panels need sunlight to charge. A misconception is that they don't need perfectly direct sunlight. So you can have, it doesn't, it can be a little bit cloudy. You're still going to get a charge out of that solar panel. But what we like to say with off-grid solar is that you need to, when you implement it with a customer, you have to explain to the customer the limitations. You cannot guarantee with off-grid solar lighting that 365 nights a year, the lights are going to be on all night. So I'd say that off-grid solar lighting is perfect for what I'd call our non-critical applications. An example of a non-critical application might be that pathway between buildings. It might be adding additional lighting in that parking lot. It might be putting wall packs on the side of a building where they don't have them today. An example of critical lighting would be a hospital parking lot, where you probably want in a hospital parking lot the lights to be on every single night, guaranteed. That's not a good application for off-grid solar lighting. So we always try to train our salespeople and our customers to make sure that they're setting the customer's expectations right with solar lighting. I think that where you can go wrong with solar lighting is going into a project and saying, throw this up on the pole and it's going to act just like line voltage LED lighting.
Now, there's other companies that do solar as well.
Yep.
I think everybody knows that. But the components that goes into a solar light fixture, you got the panel, you got the LED, you got a driver, and you got
battery.
The battery.
Yep.
right? So
It's all about materials. It's all about using high quality materials. I mean, obviously with any of the the LED lighting that we manufacture or anybody else manufactures, quality really matters. But even more so with solar lighting, because like you mentioned, you have a solar panel and the efficiencies of those solar panels can vary greatly depending on what materials you use. So we select the highest quality, highest efficiency solar panels, which are more expensive, but it means they're going to last longer and collect more solar light. Same thing with the battery. We're using really high quality batteries so that we can, A, stuff as much power as possible inside of them, and B, have them, like I talked about the charge cycles, have them last the maximum amount of time. The other thing that I'll mention is with quality as well is, with a lot of our regular LED lighting, the non-solar LED lighting, we're using LEDs that are the LED diodes that are maybe 150, 160 lumens per watt. In this solar lighting, we're selecting the absolute highest efficacy LED chips that can be 200, 210, 215 lumens per watt, which is incredible. The reason why we're doing that is we'd rather spend a little bit more money on the cost of the LEDs, but it means we can get quite a bit more lumens out of the fixture and just have that battery last so much longer. And for us, it's really how much power can we stuff into that battery and how long will that battery last, so that if there are some cloudy days,
can you replace the battery?
Yeah, so on our stance on battery replacement is that it's very important on I'd say our medium or higher priced solar lighting fixtures. So we have parking lot fixtures, we have acorn fixtures, we have bollards that are a higher price point. It's a more expensive fixture. Those fixtures we do sell replaceable batteries for. The lower cost units, like on the wall there, you see some wall packs. That's a lower cost point, or that security light up there. Those units do not have replaceable batteries, just because it would be too hard to design it in a way that you'd be able to easily and cost effectively replace it.
So what's going to go first in solar on the fixture? Is it going to be the battery?
It's going to be the battery. Yep, it's going to be the battery. But like I said, the batteries we're using and other high quality manufacturers are using in solar now have a 2,000 charge cycle life. And so that you understand what that means, in one day you have one charge discharge cycle. So in 1 year, 365 days, you have 365 potential cycles. So that's how we're able to give it a 5-year warranty, because in a 5-year period, you have less than the 2,000 charge cycles that the battery is warranted for.
Is that like the hour rating in lighting? Notoriously wrong?
We'll see, but the good thing is that we're not, as far as battery science goes, we're not starting from scratch. I mean, solar lighting is relatively new. Solar, putting batteries inside of light fixtures is relatively new, but inside of these electric cars, there's a lot of studies as to how to do it correctly. So we're trying to do as much research we can, copying and understanding what the electric car companies are doing to make sure that the batteries are reliable and happy and gonna live a long, happy life.
Everyone's going to vary on this, but what percentage of the cost is the battery? Is it a quarter of the cost of the
higher? It's probably your battery cost. To use a good quality battery in your fixture, it's probably 70%, 80% of the cost of that entire fixture. All about the battery, yeah. But I'm telling you, my vision is that the hybrid solar lighting that we're heavily involved with now, and we've been talking to a lot of utilities about and contractors, that's where you will be able to guarantee that every night of the year the lights can be on. Because if the battery runs dead,
hybrid. So why? Who cares about hybrid?
So that you can, the idea being that say you're doing an
energy efficiency play.
As an energy efficiency play, but say you're doing a hospital parking lot. In a hospital parking lot, a critical installation like that, I don't know. My sister's an emergency room doctor, so I'm always hearing about. And I feel like a hospital is a place where you want to make sure that light levels are safe, right? So in that hospital parking lot example, if you want to be able to go into that project and propose a site lighting project, retrofit, and they ask you, that facilities guy asks you, okay, I love the idea of solar lighting. I love it. We're going to use significantly less energy than we're using today with our line voltage powered grid connected lighting. But can you guarantee me that every night of the year the lights are going to be on? And the answer with completely off-grid is no. So for those customers that require it, the hybrid could be a solution. But you're going to have to bring power to the pole.
I mean, how much? I mean, if you're thinking about it, how much does adding a battery in the solar panel? I was just looking at the aux sensor. I think aux sensors play very well into this, obviously.
Yep.
Right? How much does it add to the cost of the light fixture? With the cost of LED light fixtures have come down in cost tremendously, right? And also improved in the last 5 to 10 years. So, in many ways, rebate programs from the past, they would exceed the cost of the fixture.
I agree. Yep.
Right?
I agree.
So, is this a long-term play for utility rebate programs?
So, I do understand your question. It's a great question. What I believe, and the utilities that I've been talking to also buy into this and agree, is that let's say you've got a site lighting project, and originally you had a 1,000-watt traditional lamp out there. Maybe 3 years ago, they went up there and they replaced it with a 250-watt LED head. Maybe 400 watt, whatever it is, right? Let's say 400 watts, better example. A lot of utilities are saying, how do we get another round of energy efficiency at that pole? Obviously, like you said, costs have come down over the last 3 years since they put up that 400-watt LED fixture. Efficiencies have gone up. So when maybe to replace the 1,000-watt 3 years ago, they needed 400 watts in LED. Maybe today you can do it with 320 watts of LED.
You're not going to pull it out.
But it's not gonna. But it's the ROI.
Like you're going from 1,100 to 300 to 80.
That's great. Like
going from 400 to 320 is not.
It doesn't work. But if you can go from 400 down to 10 watts, because that's the average amount of power that the hybrid unit's going to pull, then the utility looks at it and says, "Wow, that's a big enough delta to justify throwing another utility incentive at it, so we can get another round of energy efficiency on that pole."
Well, the other thing that's interesting too.
It's the only way to do it, because you're never going to get down to a 10-watt LED fixture by itself to replace a 1,000-watt MH foot candle. So
the other thing too is that there'll be a correlation between the reduction in outdoor lighting and hot days, because on the hot days, that's when the solar panel will charge the most.
True.
So that's when you need the most demand management, right? So people come home from work, they turn on they start cooking their dinners and all that sort of stuff, and they turn on their AC at home.
Yep.
And so the energy efficiency is actually most valuable on those days. So It's actually going to be a correlation there too for the utilities.
Yep.
And so that these will actually, the hotter it gets, the better these will perform.
Exactly. Yep.
Right? So it's not going to be a perfect correlation, because maybe it'll be hot at night and not during the day or whatever, but generally it will be.
Yep.
The hotter the days are, the better the things perform, the more demand management you have in the evening. So it's an interesting play, whether or not I'm starting to lick my chops for it a little bit here.
And we'll see. I mean, for sure, it's not. No, it's exciting.
It's turning. It's the gerbil dead.
I know. No, they're great questions, and it's a very exciting category. Customers are really excited about it. We're seeing, companies like ours and others that are involved in this are starting to see sales. Is it mainstream yet? No. Will it be? I think there's still a lot, just like you're saying, there's a lot of questions to be answered. But it's certainly progressed a lot since just last year or the year before. And we're only going to see more progression over the next couple of years. So it's really exciting to be in.
Now, are you maximized, I don't know enough about solar panels, but is the bigger the solar panel, the more wattage you can bring, basically?
Yeah, so, bigger is better.
So the bigger you can make a bigger fixture, because right now your max is 6,000 lumens.
So that's a great point. And one of the issues, yes, in theory, you can make the solar panel as large as you want, right? You see them on top of roofs; they're gigantic systems. The issue is, if we're trying to put that on top of a pole, we want to be able to do wind testing so that this thing's going to be able to withstand very high winds. The larger that solar panel gets, just becomes a sail on top of the pole. So, it's give and take.
When you're retrofitting, man, on the poles, like I'm always worried about that, changing out the light on the pole.
Yeah.
And is there some issue with remote mounting this? I know
No.
it wouldn't make it, but how far can you remote mount it?
All of the products that we offer today are all in one, meaning that the solar panel is connected to the fixture. Again, the idea behind that being super installer friendly, right? You don't have to do any extra work. But you're right, there are examples of maybe being, having wall packs on the side of the building that's really, it's really poorly exposed to the sun. You got a bunch of trees, a bunch of shade, other roofs are covering it. That's a great example of where, a solar system where you have light engine and battery here, and then a solar panel maybe up on the roof with a weather-tight cable running to it, and we're looking at adding that to our portfolio as well.
It's funny. Something just occurred to me while when he asked you the question about the solar panel and size. And we've done a bunch of podcasts today, and we're picking it over. So we had done a bunch of. I don't want to turn the cameras off. We had done a bunch of podcasts, and I was just sitting back here thinking about what a dynamic and innovative business we're in. Like it's incredible how much is going on in the lighting. Like just at your booth, there's like 7 podcast topics. You know what I mean? But we're talking about we were talking with Gershaw from TCP about healthy lighting systems.
Yep.
We're talking about circadian. We're talking about reducing of the blue light wavelength.
Yep.
To get rid of the blue light. We're talking about solar panels on lights.
It's not just as simple as screwing in your light bulb anymore, right?
It's actually it's an exciting time to be in lighting. And are you a product developer? Is that your job?
I am. So I'm an engineer at heart. Almost every product that you see in the booth, I either conceived of or was involved in development. My title today is that I'm in charge of the innovation department here at Light Efficient Design. Basically having fun, coming up with the grand plan, where we want to be next year, where we want to be 10 years from now, and starting to move in that direction.
Because this industry, and we're going to talk, a little bit about structure of this business. So in the old days, you had the NEMA, standards, bulbs, length, force, and stuff. And I'm a believer that innovation is best or most active when there's a structure to it. So I look at a lot of your retrofit products, and the reason why you've created such wonderful retro products is because you had set form factors to work with. So you need a 4-foot tube that's T8, bi-pin sockets on it on the end, and runs on this ballast. Make something cool. And so that kind of limits you and focuses your mind into a set form factor.
Yeah.
We're leaving that behind in lighting. Have you heard of the Jaga Consortium?
Oh yeah.
Do we need somebody to step in now and say, okay, guys, we're going to work within these form factors, these mechanical form factors?
It's a great discussion topic. I think that it's funny because it's kind of like lighting is so funny in the way that, in one hand, like you described before, it's moving so fast. Solar, controls, circadian rhythm, color change, all this stuff. So on one hand, LED lighting has opened up the door to so much possibility. On the other hand, lighting moves pretty slowly. We're still using an Edison, A19 screw-in lamp shape and design that was invented by Thomas Edison 100 years ago or something, right? So
the older something is, the longer it will
True. So I think that, for sure, the form factors that LED allow you to just so much creativity and be able to design totally new shapes and rethink the way that things are done. In the same regard, unfortunately, we're going inside of existing buildings a lot of times with existing infrastructure where you don't have so much creativity because you have to fit inside of an existing.
That's where most of the creativity can be. That's where you need it the most.
And a lot of our, not the solar, but a lot of the retrofit kits that we're doing is saying, okay, we get it. We have an existing form factor that we got to go inside of, but how can we be really, really intelligent about retrofitting that existing fixture? Really trying to maximize efficiency, add controls that are built into the fixture that can see beside, behind the lens. So they're, yes, we're working inside of an existing form factor, which is sometimes unfortunate because we have some boundaries, but we're doing really intelligent things to design just really smart ways to retrofit those existing fixtures. So
no, something just hit me, and I know you talked about it earlier, but we've done a couple podcasts today, and I got to just dive back into this solar one more time.
All right.
So we have a project where we're replacing a 150 watt metal halide on a, let's say it's on a 250
We moved
watt.
on, Greg.
I haven't.
We're going back.
I had to go back.
It's too exciting. For Greg, it's too, he's excited about it. It's good, it's good. All right.
I've got a pole that has a 250 watt head on it.
Yep.
There's power going to it, everything's great. But now, can I go and put this 30 watt fixture in place of that, cut the power of the head? I got good sunlight, use the solar, and now I use 0 watts.
Yeah. You got it.
Okay, that's what you said earlier. So now the utility, I say you.
Well, if you're not
thinking about calculating a rebate.
Yes.
you would
I'm thinking about
well,
selling this.
hold on. There's two different ways.
I already brought this up.
But let's separate this.
No,
But let's separate it into two different buckets.
Yeah.
Calculating energy savings. If you have 150 watts on that pole today,
Yeah.
and you disconnect it from the grid, you're going from 150 to 0.
Yes.
So you can tell the customer. I mean, it's legit
0, yeah.
that you can calculate your energy savings. So, how many hours a day was that 150 watt fixture on, and kilowatt hours per year, right? That's the energy savings. As far as the utility is concerned, that's where it gets a little bit more complicated. Because if you go from 150 watts to 0, most utilities today, some do, but most do not have a program in place to totally disconnect from the grid.
Yeah.
And that's where some of the hybrid stuff that we're working on will come into play, because we'll still be grid connected.
They don't want you disconnected from the grid. They want you to pay something.
Why would they pay you? Would you ever pay anybody to use less of your product?
They do
give
now.
all
They
rebates
do
out.
now.
And so
It's a funny concept.
No, it's not, because they have the right to bill all that back to their clients and raise
Right.
So, I mean, come on, it's all rabies.
Right.
Sorry, that took me a little while to catch up. No,
I remember this, so where were we? Yeah, before we were rudely interrupted by the salesman over here. You're a degenerate salesman.
Dive back deep into whatever you're done.
Yeah. No, but I think the industry needs structure. What I'm trying to get my head around, so I got the nickname the Circadian Canadian. I'm not sure about all this health effects of lighting. I go back and forth on it a little bit. I can be convinced during a show. I'll be talking to someone, I'll get really excited. Like we interviewed Adam Lillian from the UL, right? You're a product developer. Can you see yourself developing a product that you're going to make claims about making a healthy lighting system?
Right. I think that's where it gets tricky. I mean, when I don't think
I've seen cut sheets.
that's tough. We don't do that. I mean,
We had a podcast. We had a podcast. We couldn't release it because the lady sent us
because of the
cut
claims.
sheet.
Yeah.
It's like 5% productivity, 10% less late. We started grilling her.
6 month payback. Remember?
Yeah.
This is what I can say about that topic. I don't think that anybody would deny that the sun does a pretty good job at lighting, right? I mean, you usually feel good when you're outside, right? I mean, we're usually happier when we're outside and the sun does certain things. It's warmer in the morning. It's the bluer color temperature. So we know those things. There are not a lot of, like you said, conclusive medical studies yet, controlled scientific experiments yet, to really put percentages or numbers on increased productivity or increased health. With that being said, there's a lot of anecdotal, case studies going around that said, hey, we did this at this nursing home, or we did it at this school, and the kids seem to be happier, in the nursing home, people seem to be feeling better or whatever. But then I think, but what needs to be done clearly to make claims like that is more real science, real scientific
One
experiments.
study that really caught my eye, the one thing that Adam Lillian and I, we weren't discussing it on the show, we discussed it after. The one thing that's, he researched a bunch of lighting studies on natural lighting. And the one thing that he said that really blew me away was they noticed a 16% increase in the grades of children that had a lot of natural sunlight in their classrooms, okay, with windows. Now it's nice to have a window, so they don't know if it's the light or it's just nice to have a window. or the teacher's in a better mood because there's a window, right? You know what was really interesting was that they noticed the same increase in the classrooms that had no windows but had solar tubes. You know those
Piping natural light into
Yes.
piping sunlight.
Yeah, so you can't actually see outside,
Yeah.
but there's natural light coming into the classroom. And they noticed the same increase. There's something strange about that to me. Like, that means that we're kind of, and I've been saying this on all day, people are going to start getting raised on me, but we're kind of like fish in water with light. You know what I mean? Like, light is like water.
Light is the source of life.
Yes.
I mean,
we're going to get spiritual. I knew it.
Hey, I'm a spiritual guy. I'm not ashamed of it. And I mean, light is the source of life.
Yes.
Without light, there would not be life
there
on
be
this
light,
planet.
man.
Let there be light. And you know, so there's no question that in the coming years, not only in general illumination, lighting that classroom or lighting a hospital room, are you going to see more and more studies, more and more scientific experiments to show what we can do to make, like you're saying, better quality light to improve productivity or outpatient outcomes or whatever. But you're going to see, I mean, that is just the tipping point. I'm involved. One of my other ventures is I'm involved with a company where we're developing medical devices that are using light for the military, for the U.S. military. And eventually, hopefully, the idea is that this will become available in commercial hospitals. But these are medical devices that are using wavelengths of light for sterilization, that are using wavelengths of light for wound repair. So the Army is interested in our technology to use light to speed up wound recovery or wound repair. So, you know, thinking about, so the answer is yes. I mean, light is unbelievably important. You're going to see not only a general illumination in the upcoming years, more and more really cool stuff happening, but you're going to see medical devices, medical treatments, getting away from antibiotics, just unbelievable things, unbelievable devices and protocols using light to solve medical problems and improve our lives. So it's exciting. Light is exciting. This is a cool time to be involved in it.
You know, I think it is. It is it's a scary time. I think there's going to be a lot of companies that are not going to be here in 10 years.
Sure.
Like, I look around, I walk around here, and I think, I don't know, man. You know, but I also think, you know, the IoT, the connected, they're going to figure that out. They're going to make that useful at some point. Right now, connected lighting is useless. I mean, I hate to say that, but nobody wants to get alerts from their light bulbs. Okay,
right.
So I can send you alerts on your phone from your light bulbs.
Yep.
No thanks, buddy. I'm good.
Right.
So you could do that, but how can you get me something useful here,
Yep.
right? Li-Fi is incredibly interesting to me. You know, there's circadian. Now you're powering lights with the light. Powering lights with the light.
That's right. Light powers light. No, it's exciting. It's a scary time. It's exciting, but there's no question that it's moving quickly. You're going to see next in the upcoming years. I mean, there are going to be things we can't even imagine at this light show. That it's cool. It's exciting.
Dave, give the listeners out there your website address.
Sure. So it's, again, the company is Light Efficient Design and REMFOS, and the website is www.led-llc.com.
That's Light Efficient Design. Greggy, don't forget those solar. You're gonna go back to Minnesota and start smashing in some solar lights.
Let's do it.
I've had customers ask for solar in the
Me
past.
too, so many
I
times.
say that. Let's just not even talk about it. Now I can actually maybe talk about it. Maybe I said it. But I think this is legit. This looks real.
Call us up. We'll help you. We'll help you do it right.
So solar, and then back to that.
You know what? It's one of those things. I'd like to put a solar job into my resume, my repertoire, my CV. You know what I mean? It's like,
Yeah.
I'd like to have one on the repertoire, just to see I did it.
It's a race. Who's going to win? Me or you?
I'll make you a bet. I'll bet you $1,000 I'll do it first. I got the guy in
We'll bet
my
off
mind.
there.
I got the guy.
I don't have one yet, so let me
You're
get
such a chicken, dude.
Someday.
Thanks for listening, folks. We're really grateful for all you Get a Grip on Lighting listeners and our sponsors, and of course our hosts and Dave, Light Efficient Design.
Thank you.
very
Appreciate
much.
you guys.
Yeah.
Thanks for having me.
All right.
Thank you.
Written on the rectory wall, there's a sign there for all. If you are lost, the Lord is there to find you.